Hey Browns fans, coming with the latest updates for you. After this fiasco of a season, a lot needs to be fixed because the game is a mess, and the Browns have already started closing and planning for next season. So let's get to the latest details that were released. But first, make sure to click the like button to stay well informed, and write down below what changes should be made urgently. Alright, let's talk about the future of one of the most beloved Browns of all time, Nick Chubb. If you're a Browns fan, you know how important Chubb has been to this team. He's been the heart and soul of the backfield, a workhorse, a leader, and a fan favorite. But now, after back-to-back injury-riddled seasons, his future in Cleveland is uncertain. Chubb was on track to break franchise records before a devastating knee injury in Week 2 of the 2023 season sidelined him. After a lengthy rehab, he returned in Week 7 of this season, only to suffer a broken foot in Week 15. Since 2023, he has played in just 10 games, rushing for 502 yards and 3 touchdowns, a far cry from the dominant runner we once knew. Now, GM Andrew Berry is being vague about Chubb's future. In his end-of-season press conference, Berry praised Chubb's impact on and off the field, but admitted that the contract situation is challenging. He said, "We love Nick. He's going to be a Ring of Honor player for us. But in the short term, that's something we have to figure out in the next few weeks." Not exactly what Browns fans wanted to hear, right? Berry is clearly being cautious, especially with Chubb entering free agency after multiple injuries. The hard truth? The Browns need to figure out if Chubb can still be a top-tier running back or if his injuries have set him back for good. Chubb has expressed his desire to finish his career in Cleveland, which gives hope that a deal can still be reached. But the reality is that his numbers this season were the lowest they've ever been, and there are serious questions about his long-term durability. Could a team-friendly contract be the answer? Or is this the end of the Chubb era in Cleveland? It's a tough decision for Berry. Chubb has done everything right for this franchise, both as a player and as a leader. But the NFL is a business, and running backs' careers are often unforgiving. The next few weeks will be critical as the Browns decide whether to extend Chubb or move on. Now, I want to hear from you, Dawg Pound. Should the Browns bring Nick Chubb back, or is it time to move in a new direction? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'm reading them all. With the 2024 season finally behind us after a disappointing 3-14 record, it's time for some serious roster changes. Cleveland holds the number 2 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, but there's another big move the front office should consider, signing veteran W.R. Tyler Lockett. Lockett's future in Seattle looks shaky. The Seahawks have rising stars in Jackson Smith-Njigba and DK Metcalf, and with Lockett's massive $30 million salary cap hit in 2025, he could be on his way out. If Seattle releases him, he'll be a prime target for the Browns. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Isn't Lockett past his prime? Sure, he's 32 years old, but he's still productive. Last season, he recorded 49 receptions, 600 yards, and 2 touchdowns despite limited snaps. His experience and route running skills could be just what Cleveland needs to stabilize the receiving core. Jerry Jeudy is a lock to be the WR1 after a strong season, but behind him? Elijah Moore is set to hit free agency, and it's unclear if he'll return. That leaves Cedric Tillman next, and while the second-year wideout has potential, trusting him in a big role without a veteran backup plan seems risky. That's where Lockett fits in perfectly. He brings reliable hands, experience, and the ability to mentor younger receivers while also contributing. Imagine Watson having a reliable WR3 to lean on, especially with Jeudy requiring double teaming. Of course, this all depends on whether Seattle actually cuts Lockett. But if they do, Andrew Berry should definitely make the decision. The Browns need to provide weapons to turn things around, and Lockett could be a smart, affordable veteran signing that helps this offense find consistency. What do you think, Dawg Pound? Should Cleveland target Tyler Lockett this offseason or focus on younger options during the draft? The Cleveland Browns are looking at a pivotal offseason with the 2025 NFL Draft on the horizon. And you're going to want to hear this. The Browns have secured the number 2 overall pick. That's right, folks, we're sitting comfortably in one of the highest draft positions we've seen in years. So how did this happen? Well, it all came down to Saturday's heartbreaking loss to the Baltimore Ravens. That result secured us a top 3 spot in the draft order. But the big moment came on Sunday when the New England Patriots defeated the Buffalo Bills. That win put the Browns in the number 2 overall pick. But here's where it gets interesting. The Tennessee Titans, after their loss to the Houston Texans, got the number 1 pick. So with the number 2 overall pick in hand, the Browns are in prime position to make a real splash in the 2025 NFL Draft. Now, let's break it down. ESPN Cleveland analyst Jake Trotter weighs in on what the Browns should do with this valuable draft position. According to Trotter, the smart move here would be to trade down. Well, the Browns have a ton of needs to fill, from left tackle to running back to pass rusher to receiver. Trading down would allow Cleveland to pick up additional draft picks, which is exactly the kind of move that fits with general manager Andrew Berry's team-building philosophy. Think about it, the Browns haven't had a first-round pick since 2021, and with so many holes to fill, the chance to gain more picks could be huge. This strategy would give the Browns the opportunity to address several of those needs while also adding new talent to the roster at a cost-effective price. And let's be real, that could be the key to a successful season in 2025 and beyond. Now, let's talk about what's on the roster right now. Analyst Jake Trotter also pointed out that 2 of the most promising young players on the Browns roster, Greg Newsome and Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, are still on their rookie deals or entry-level extensions. These players are crucial to Cleveland's future, but they're also some of the only former first-round picks who are still contributing regularly. So the Browns need to add more young talent to continue building for the future, and this draft could be the perfect opportunity to do just that. The decision the Browns face in April is monumental. Whether they hold on to the number 2 pick or trade for more picks is a pivotal moment in the franchise's rebuilding process. This draft could potentially shape the team for seasons to come, and every move will be critical. But that's not all. The Browns are already making moves to prepare for next season. After a tough 3-win season, they're looking ahead to 2025 and beyond. In fact, they signed 9 young players to future/reserve contracts, ensuring that some of the promising talent on their practice squad will be back in the mix for next summer's training camp. Among those signings are guys like rookie Joan Briggs, who has made a good impression in limited playing time this season. His efforts earned him a spot on the roster next year, and you can expect him to fight for a spot on the roster when training camp begins. The 9 players signed to future contracts include Trey Dean, Marcus Haynes, Roy Mbaitika, Trey McKitty, Julian Pearl, Ellison Smith, Andre Szmyt, Lorenzo Thompson. These guys will have a chance to prove themselves and fight for a spot on the active roster, so keep an eye on them as we approach next season. So, Browns fans, what do you think? Should the Browns trade down in the 2025 draft to maximize their picks, or should they stay and make some noise with the 2nd overall selection? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear from you. And don't forget, if you enjoyed today's video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with the latest Cleveland Browns news. This offseason is going to be huge, and you won't want to miss a thing. Go Browns!